Welcome back to the SimTech podcast, the show where we bring you behind the scenes of clinical simulation and shine a light on the people, products, and ideas shaping the world and future of our field. I'm your host Craig, and today we're joined by Rib Technologies, a company known for their innovative mannequins, task trainers, and wearable solutions. In this episode, I'm sitting down with Isaac to explore on his journey, what makes their products stand out, and how simulation tech is evolving to meet real-world clinical demands. Whether you're a seasoned SimTech or just getting started, this episode is packed with insights you won't want to miss. So, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode here at the SimTech podcast. Today we were going to be looking at another showcase from a supplier, and to help me to do that I brought along Isaac. Good morning, Isaac, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good morning. Yeah, I'm good.
Would you like to give yourself what I say a corporate introduction? So introduce us, let us know what's going on.
Oh, a corporate introduction. I'm not so great at these. So my name is Isaac Franklin. I've been working in simulation for about 10 or 12 years now. I'm a mold maker by trade, but now I'm a bit of everything. You know, I make molds, I design mannequins, I design task trainers, and I run a company called Rib Productions. And we make task trainers, mannequins, through to your simulances, any kind of thing. Basically, we'll do anything which we think sounds interesting for simulation. We're solely based in simulation now. We used to do film and theatre as well, and other industries around drones and that kind of stuff, but now we're solely simulation.
So you said you've been doing it for maybe about 10 years. What did you do before?
Film, theatre, making doors and windows and building and
someone's got to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Any films that we would have heard of?
No, not really. It was cool, kind of a mix, really. I was specialised in puppetry. I was a puppeteer. Yeah, I was a puppeteer for my first. I was a puppeteer for the first 5 years of my kind of working life outside of school. So I finished school, became a puppeteer, and I was doing large animatronic puppets like polar bears and stuff like that all over the world with a touring theatre. Yeah, that was my weird start to working life. Yeah. I'm not involved with that anymore, though. I'm not involved. But it kind of does hark back to a mannequin. They are kind of slightly like complicated puppets, really.
Yeah, but this is the beauty of simulation, is people come from all kinds of backgrounds that has some kind of tedious link into simulation. It's either audio, visual, puppets. It all finds its way in, doesn't it, somehow? And it says that there's so many transferable skills over to this industry, really.
100%.
A little question is: does RIB stand for anything, or is it?
Yes,
RIB as
it
in
does.
a word. What's RIB stand for?
The company was founded by me and my wife. It's still a family-owned company. We have no investors or outside kind of influence at this point. And my wife's called Ruth. I'm called Isaac, and we started it in a small village in the Forest of Dean called Blakeney. So RIB. And, half a bottle of wine, trying to work out what to be the name was. That's what we came up with.
Yeah. Well, it works, doesn't it? What was your inspiration? Why did you want to do it?
Well, yeah, it's a weird start, really. So we came out of uni, did some films and theatre stuff, decided that, we were a bit older and we were mature students. So we were a bit older, and we kind of really quickly decided that the film industry wasn't really for us. It's too kind of like feast and famine and kind of, hard, long hours and all that kind of stuff, and working for somebody else. So we thought we'd become carpenters. So we went back and we moved back to the Forest Dean from London, and we were making doors and windows. And we got asked by a friend, an army guy friend, to make a set of exploded limbs, blown off limbs, to simulate a bomb attack somewhere. And we made those, and then we got asked by somebody else to make something else, and then somebody else to make something else. And at first it was kind of like a jobbing kind of gig, like a contracting kind of thing for us. We've worked with a lot of other companies in the industry, kind of as freelance kind of designers and makers. And then kind of during the beginning of COVID, we decided that we needed to kind of either do this seriously or not do it at all. And COVID was a good time. There was lots of work going around, and that's why we decided. We also kind of simulation for me is an incredible making challenge. Like at heart, Rib is a load of makers, people who like making things. And simulation is just such a great engineering and making challenge because it's never perfect, it's never solved. The human body is incredible, and you're trying to replicate and create a good representation of what the human body does, and that's really difficult. And that's the great thing about making in simulation is that you always are making something new. You're always designing something new. You're always coming up with a new way to solve that problem. And the best solutions still aren't found. I believe the best solutions still aren't found. I still think there's better solutions out there that we can hunt for. And then also we've got the financial constrictions of what the products need to be. So you have to make them for a good price. And it's just such a fun making space to be in.
Yeah, I mean, that will resonate with a lot of the listeners, is that people are always creating stuff in this job, trying to solve a problem that has just arisen. People. Sometimes I walk down the corridor and I never know what I'm going to see. There's always something weird on display that is getting made, or someone's trying to decide how to fix this problem. I mean, when the military guy came to you and said, "Look, can you make this for me?" What was the first one you made, and how did you make it? Because obviously you probably didn't have the equipment at that point. You probably didn't have an idea what was going on.
No, so me and my wife both got degrees in moulding and casting and life sculpting. So we can both sculpt classical, sculptures. So the first ones were made very much, a bit of clay, fiberglass molds, ran in silicone with foam backing. They were a selection of body parts, but in a very described manner. They were trying to make a kind of like a murder mystery game for these trainees on how this event had happened and how, because a lot of the military stuff, which we've done a reasonable amount in the past, is all about the story of what's happened, how it's happened, and the bigger picture. It's not so much about it has got the simulation aspect, the medical sim, but it's more about the bigger picture for them. They want to kind of keep their operational resilience, as they call it. So it's a head, an arm, and a foot, and we just sculpted out of clay, looked at some references on the internet, painted them up, and we still sell those free items to this day. And they were made a long time ago now. The molds still exist and still get sold.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an image of you just pushing your face into this tub of gelatin to get your mold.
Oh no, it would have been a life cast back then. It would have been a allogeneic kind of jacketed thing with plaster and then sculpted from that. Yeah, and it was my head, my foot, and my arm.
Yeah, that's it's. Have you heard of? I don't know if you have heard of it, but have you heard of Adam Gel?
No.
So this is kind of the tech's DIY solution to making essentially flesh and fat and skin. And as you can imagine, it's just this ultrasoundable gel. Adam spent.
I know the stuff. I know.
It stands for like 4 chemicals, and you mix it together, and it costs pennies. Like I said, we're always creating these kind of solutions that for time, cost, quality. You're always keeping those.
Yeah, and that's like super interesting to me, and like super interesting to all of the design guys here. Like we're always making things that don't make it to market because they're not going to make any money for the company, and we kind of have this idea of one day releasing them all, but it's just like lots of complications in this industry around. Like a lot of the biggest players would not be happy with the things that we've made there, and I don't think. Because if you go outside of the UK, the simulation centres outside the UK, they'll have whole departments where they're just remoulding other companies' items so that they don't have to pay consumable costs. And it's not just paying for the consumable costs, it's being able to get hold of them and like being able to. So they've got 6 or 7 guys, loads of 3D printers, and they're just like moulding and casting and, like IO inserts and, up to really complicated stuff. Like I've been to some in the Middle East where they're making whole mannequins. Like just messing around, making whole mannequins to meet goals that they want within their simulation center, and I just find that it's amazing. Like the stuff which is being put out in simulation centers is like, in my opinion, is some of the best stuff because it's like it meets that price bracket ridiculously well. No one's getting, cuts on the way through, distros, all of the rest of the stuff with them. So it's coming in real cheap, and it's exactly what they want. And that's hard as a company to get hold of that information, like what you exactly want, and meeting that in the price range, because obviously we have overheads, costs, distributors, and so on and so forth, which add to that cost. And yeah, it's a shame, but they don't get the recognition as well as what the companies are putting out.
Yeah, so you touch base that Rib does, obviously, moulds and task trainers, these kind of things. What else do they do? What other things you got?
So Rib Productions really has taken a kind of like, at first it was a lot of sculpting and molding and casting, but in-house we have a design team of 5, and they're from engineering through to sculpting through to kind of concept and all of the text which goes with it, all of the documentation. We got a mold team which can run most materials in-house, so we've got can run silicons, urethanes, foams, everything, and they're time-served molding and casters, 20 years in the industry. We have a pretty large 3D print farm of 65 printers, which is like one of our main kind of staples of how we do our manufacturing, and how we're able to enter the industry as just a family business with a really small investment. We've got a fabrication space where we can make whole semblances. We've got plasma cutters, lasers, and all of that kind of stuff, paint department, and so on and so forth. But Rib really at the moment is kind of focusing on its 3D printing as a manufacturing, as a manufacturing tool. Like we've got our R42 mannequin and Noah, and quite a few mannequins coming out this year, which are virtually completely 3D printed projects, even down to the mold sets. We're trying to reduce our plastic use so we think of 3D printing as like bad for the environment, but it's actually better than your fiberglass and your urethanes and so on and so forth. We're trying to do a full circular recycling plant within the workshop where we're taking those 3D prints and any waste is being recycled back into 3D print material. But yeah, we've got the work. Our R42 is fully 3D printed inside. We have a patent pending system where we're combining metal and various different CNC components to make the mannequin strong enough to be in use. And we've constantly shocked by what 3D printers are able to do. We're doing a lot of multi-material 3D printing. We're directly 3D printing silicon now. We're really pushing that kind of boundary of what's able to be done on a 3D printer and the scale that it's able to be done on. When you've got 65 printers, you can print a lot of stuff very quickly. But yeah, we're up for anything really. We'll try anything which comes along. We're really interested in just kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, so you mentioned the R42. Is that your design? Because I see it in other people's stands and other people's shops.
Yeah. So R42 was completely designed at Rib Productions. It was designed through funding with Aston University in Birmingham to their specifications. But Rib runs a very distributor-based model. We don't kind of sell direct yet. As a smaller business, like, you've got to focus on what you're good at the beginning, and we were good at making stuff, so we focused on that. So there's distributors out there, lots of distributors for R42, but R42 is designed by Rib and made by Rib in-house here in Gloucestershire. It's our product.
Okay. So yeah, let's say it's weird. I mean, thinking about it, it's obvious that someone's got to make it and design it. But yeah, I always thought for some reason, was it Sim Collective? I thought that was theirs.
Yeah. It's not been linked back to our name as well as we'd like to at times, but Sim Collective was a big component of it. Jake Rahman found the funding for the initial project, so he's the distributor for it in the UK. But Rib Production did all of the design work. Yeah, we do all of the design work. We do design work for a lot of other companies as well. You'll see it going around like Aspie or some of the sim shows. There's lots of our stuff just dotted around on other stands because we do white labeling. So what does that mean? That means basically like a company can come to us and say, "Can you make this?" And we'll go, "Yeah." And they'll say, "But we want to have our name on it, and we don't want it to be known that you designed it." And we'll allow them to do that if they pay a little bit of extra money to do that. We have no problem with that. They're quite once you realise what a Rib Productions product looks like, you'll start to recognise them around all of the shows. They're there, they're kicking around for sure.
You've got your signature kind of built into them, I guess. I suppose everybody has their style, don't they?
It's just the style, yeah. I think when it comes to style, we're aiming for like a pretty good level of visual realism, but with a high level of functionality, modularity as well, the ability to change all of the components on and off of it, and practical, a practical item, something which has not got special bolts in it or, specialist made stuff. We're really insistent on like our bolt selection basically is whatever you can get in Screwfix. We try not to do anything special outside of the box, just so if something breaks, you're not like hunting for a 46.5 millimeter long bolt with a Japanese thread size on it,
Yeah. Is there anything that you don't do? Is that people come to you and say, "Can you do this?" That that you've.
Wow, that's a really good question.
Are you just open and you'll maybe try a
We're
little
really
bit of
open.
everything?
So we have an open workshop policy. So like, if anyone wants to come down and have a chat and do a proposal and propose something, we're always happy to listen. We won't do anything which is like active military service items. So something which is used in warfare. We won't touch any of that ever. We're only here to make things to save lives and improve patient outcomes and make people like. We won't do that. But yeah, we make lots of weird stuff. We've done a bit of film work this year. We did a load of tentacles for a horror movie. We do the odd kind of product design for other companies and stuff. But yeah, we'll try anything, and we're really interested in just having people over to talk about those things. Like, even if it doesn't come to something, there's always really good fun, and we can always. It's always improves like both sides of the party. Like, we can tell you, okay, it's just not going to work because it's not going to be financially viable, or it's like the practical implications are just too much. Like, it just won't be reliable, or so on and so forth. Or we'll learn, like, wow, there's this crazy thing that people do in medical world, like, which we've never heard of, and that's so interesting, and we'll try and explore how we can achieve that. So we're up for anything. Yeah, totally.
Do you have to be a supplier, or could it be just a tech that has a problem or something quite
It could
low
be a
level?
tech, yeah. We're thinking about this year, 2026, running 1 or 2 days where we're going to invite out on the tech groups on Facebook and so on and so forth, where we're going to do a free digital molding and casting day where you come down and learn how to mold and cast something digitally. And we're thinking about doing, a few different tech things where we kind of like just completely free, open for people to come down and explore and learn and kind of see what we're up to. We want to get more people round. We want to see more people. We want to meet more people. Obviously, not having a in-house sales team at current means we don't get that direct access that we need as much as we want. And like we kind of live in a bit of an echo chamber at times where we kind of don't get the help or the information that we want from a vast enough source. So yeah, anybody's more than welcome. Even if you're just like Bob, who's at the pub, who we've met at the pub, he's welcome to come and have a look around. We do a tour, we make you a coffee. It takes about 30 minutes and you can hang around, ask questions of people and find out about it. Yeah, no, we're completely open.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, like I say, I know loads of people. They always have these problems, and they're always trying to create stuff. But it's getting over the line sometimes. Is knowing, the last little bit of making it, and people have all these ideas, but it's nice to be able to take them to somebody in it who does the last bit for them.
It's hard. It's really hard to kind of like if you don't make something to start is really hard. But I think one of the things to like highlight at the moment is we're in probably one of the most exciting moments of making in human history. Like, you can buy a 3D printer for less than £1,000, buy a really good computer for less than £1,000, and from that you can get really far with time. You've got to learn, and the software's cheaper. Our print farm is made up of printers which are sub £600, most of them. There are some really expensive ones in that space, but they do the mainstay volume of our work. And the software now is so intuitive, it's so much easier to use, it's so much more accessible, and there's so many videos on how to use it. And you really can, like, I lecture at university about this subject, about how we are in the most exciting time in my lifetime and in most people's lifetimes for making stuff. Like, we can make ridiculous amounts of stuff and for ridiculously cheap. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's another debate about the environment and about society as general. But if you want to make stuff, you can make anything now. It's great fun.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, a couple of years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, so, it was a bit of a virtual reality boom, wasn't there? Where actually
Yeah,
we just kind of hit a threshold where actually it was very consumer friendly. There was no more stitching needed. These £200-300 cameras would just do everything for you, and all you had to
yeah,
do
no,
was
they're
pretty much
amazing.
export it. But before that, it was all coding, and to be able to do that ourselves. And now I feel like we're going through a bit of an AI boom as well. I mean,
Yeah,
how is that affecting you over at Rib?
AI, it's an amazing tool so from our end, like being able to use AI to help us do specifications and to do the back end documentation and just keeping it all like neater and tidier and not, as a designer, you spend 25% of your time designing, 25% of your time testing, and then 50% of your time doing all the documentation. There's a huge amount of documentation you have to do, like tolerances and all of this, because if you ever have to hand the project off to somebody else, you have to have all this documentation. And AI helps so much with that. All of the kind of AI integration into 3D scanning now, that's incredible. That 5 years ago, I bought a 3D scanner for £20,000, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And this year, I bought an upgrade for £800, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's now a paperweight. And I still use the expensive one because it does some things a little bit better. But the £800 one is amazing because you can take it places and you don't have to be like, if I took, the other one I used to take on planes to go and scan clients abroad. This one I'm like, cool, I'll shove it in my bag. I don't put it in the case. But yeah, AI is really, we've done quite a lot of projects at the moment. We've done a few projects recently where we partnered with Microsoft. And we've done a few projects where we've been doing AI conversation mannequins, which are completely offline. So they're large language models offline. And it was accessible. We're not specialists in machine learnings, but, we're pretty good at picking things up. And, we were able to get a mannequin together, which you could have a whole treatment path, every sensor you touch, change the conversation of the mannequin. The only problem was he sounded really excited about the whole scenario where he shouldn't have. He was not having a great day. But yeah, it's exciting. It's scary, and at the same time for designers and makers, it's not really touching into the design space particularly well at this point. A lot of the development around AI generation for that kind of space is aimed around games and films and so on and so we're not really getting touched, but it is creeping in. And we're integrating and using it as much as we possibly can where it's needed. We're not using it when we don't need it, but we're using it when we do, because if it saves time and it makes the process easier and it makes the process better, then we'll use it, but we won't use it for use sake, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart way to look at it, because in the right hands, it's a very good tool in it to save time. But in the wrong hands, it's prone to making quite big mistakes sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to look after it. You have to watch it. You can't just allow it to do its
Can't trust
thing.
it yet. And it's good to know that
Yeah,
your job's safe for a little bit from AI takeover, which is always
yeah,
good to hear. Yeah.
for sure.
Um, so what's next then? Have you got anything crazy in the pipeline?
We've got a lot of mannequins coming through. We've been focusing on so we just released a new mannequin called Noah. It's a 9-month-old child, a boy, and it's kind of PLS, ALS model with some nice simple electronics, no app, kind of all on a kind of control board. And it was a really nice project. I did that project myself, and that was it kind of explores what's possible with multi-material printing, and it's got a really realistic chest compression unit. It's got a full spine and through its whole body, so you get a really great range of movement. And we keep going back to like how movement's really important on a mannequin. Once you get the movement good, the features are easier to add. But coming down the line, we've got a newborn in the beginning of next year, on the same model, and a 5-year-old child on the same model. We just released a TCCC mannequin aimed at kind of the US market, which is like super heavy duty, all stainless welded components, absolute tank of a thing with super harsh rechangeables. But and then we've got a old care of the elderly or geriatric, I can't remember which is the term we're supposed to be using now, which is terrible. Mannequin, who's we're doing a lot of like kind of visual hidden pathologies on him. We think that's not really explored very well in simulation, where, you know, a little bit of skin cancer under the eye, a little crease on the ear, you know, kind of like a couple of scars, a bit more history. Lifecast did amazing work in that space, but I think we can take it further, and we're doing a lot of that. But he's also fully loaded, and we're bringing out a new system called Ribcore, which is an electronic system which runs through all of the mannequins and can be backdated into the mannequins. But yeah, we're just going to keep going at what we're doing at the moment. And just see where it takes us. But also Rib's trying to get more out there, trying to get more in front of customers, we always try and do more direct sales, trying to meet our customers, because there's lots of stuff out there. And we hear this all the time, like, oh, they are 42. I thought that was somebody else's. And it's like, oh
Yeah,
no,
but,
this isn't
you know,
this isn't the way we need to build our brand as well.
yeah,
You know,
this is the problem with working behind the scenes, and it is, you know, you sometimes you can't get into that limelight that you need. I mean, where do you get your ideas from? Obviously, you're saying your idea was Noah. Where did that spring from? Where's the need created?
Just conversations with distros and Simtex at shows, like Birmingham Children's Hospital, with a kind of pushing conversation for Noah. And Noah also was done kind of because it's so small, we could experiment with a lot of new design ideas and multi-material printings. But yeah, it comes from whoever we can get those ideas from, and whoever's willing to explore those ideas in the long term. Like, if somebody comes with an idea and they just give you the idea and then they leave, that's kind of also as bad as just not having an idea. Like, you need someone to own that scenario and help you and guide you through that kind of like what they're after. Because, like, I've got no medical background, and I can only take what you give me and translate it into what I think is correct. I need you to then come and check and make sure that I've got it right. And if I don't, I'll fix it, I'll change it, I'll make it correct. But we need someone it's a collaborative thing. We need to like work together to improve these products, and that's quite hard, because, you know, we all know Simtex and doctors and consultants and all of these guys who do this amazing training. They're unbelievably busy, and like getting time with them. And when we're making, we need like a reasonable amount of time. We need multiple days over multiple weeks or months or even a year. It depends how long the project is. And you need to allow us to reiterate. I mean, you need to allow us to get it wrong, because we're going to get it wrong, because it's impossible to get it perfect. You know, for instance, like our TCCC Anakin, it has 1,600 individual parts on it. You know, there's going to be stuff wrong, and we need someone to hold our hand and kind of like, you know, almost there, guys, well done, but you've completely forgotten this component of it. You know, and I still make those mistakes, but we're getting a lot better at that kind of thing. We're doing Taj trainers and wearables and that kind of stuff. We're doing a lot of stuff at the moment. Very busy, very busy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously within the NHS, I mean, we spoke a little bit offline about it. There's almost this freeze on buying new equipment within the NHS. Do you feel that from a supplier side?
Yeah, wow. This year in the UK has not been as buoyant as it was even the year before. It's been a very sharp drop off, but there has been a large pickup abroad in kind of stop the bleed training, and because we have a load of military end products, our diversity has really like kept us solid. We're continuing to grow. But yeah, it's really sad to see, because we were so, with R42 being released and was really well received in the UK. We sold a lot of units and we had a lot of great feedback, and she's getting used how we thought she'd be used. But it's just sad to see the guys not having any money, you know, because they want these products and they want these new innovations. They want stuff to keep working, and they just can't support it at the moment, which is really sad. But I'm like hopeful this can't keep going for forever in the UK. It can't, because how can we keep training if we're not getting this stuff coming in, and how can we keep pushing towards the forefront of it? But I'm hopeful for it. But Ribs go global. We sell, you know, like this week we've shipped to America, Canada, Middle East, Africa, Europe. We're selling everywhere. So the UK market, as much as it's a big one, it's not our like kind of sole income. But yeah, it's a shame to see. It's a really shame to see. But the UK, for a small entering business like myself, like a family business with small investment, it's a really hard market to get into because we've got to be on all of the systems for the NHS. We've got to have all of our ISOs. We've got to we're looking at almost 80 to £100,000 investment to go direct into the UK market, and that's a shame because that means that our products are going out with the distro cut straight to clients. We could sell them cheaper, but we can't because we can't directly sell in because we can't afford to get into that. And I think that's a discussion to have within the UK market of how we can help and enable smaller business to move in, because with what's happening with 3D printing and 3D scanning and the making space at the moment, that's totally, there could be more smaller businesses, and we get loads of students around here who come for internships or just come to show us like their stuff, who are making like incredible products which are really going to help people out and at good prices, but you just know they're not going to be able to get it to market because they just can't get the access in, and they can't get the money and the certification and the space and all of that, and there's nowhere they can go for support apart from coming to us, and we give them spaces, but it's just yeah, I think it saddens me a bit the lack of investment in simulation and business within the UK itself. It is a shame that we're not pushing people forward and helping them, but the money's tight, and these are long-term kind of ideas I'm talking about. They don't fix the problem short-term. You need to invest in for decades to get those kind of companies up off the ground.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I feel it myself, and from speaking to people, that there's no money in well, just in education, but within the trusts as well. They're just less likely to spend £70,000, £80,000 on a mannequin these days.
Yeah.
It just isn't. It feels like it's not a priority.
Yeah. And we're aware of that. We're aware of that. Like we are trying now to design mannequins that are deliberately a lot cheaper and have less feature set, but are a lot cheaper, and make sure they meet those core curriculum pieces. And that's a conscious discussion within every single design meeting. How do we make sure this is affordable to our clients?
Yeah, it's one of our ethoses, is trying to do more for less these days.
100%.
All right, Isaac. As I knew, our time is almost up. If people have heard and enjoyed what you've said, how can they get hold of you or get in touch with you?
Yeah, just throw an email to either Isaac, if you want to speak to me directly, at ribproductions.co.uk, or info@ribproductions.co.uk. Even if you just want to come down, have a cup of tea and have a chat and have a look around the workshop, more than happy to have
Whereabouts your workshop there, Isaac?
It's in Lydney, near the Severn Bridge, Forest Dean area, not far from Bristol. We have a train station right outside the workshop, 5-minute walk. And we're open, your normal 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and we're always happy to have people. If you want to take a look at our products, there's you can look at one of our distribution websites, or you can go to ribproductions.co.uk or ribtechnologies.info if you're over in the States. Always up for meeting people as well. If ever anybody wants to visit, just give us a bell. Come on down.
Where can people see you next? Are you going into any conferences?
Yeah, we'll be we've done a lot of conferences this year. We've been everywhere, but IMSH is our next one. We'll be at IMSH. Yeah, I can't remember the booth number off the top of my head.
Yeah. All right, Isaac. Well, thanks for joining me today. It's been great catching up, and hopefully we'll see you. I think my next one might be HSPC or whatever it is I think coming up, but I don't think I'll be going to that one.
No, we're not going to that one either.
No, I think it's been quite heavy this year on conferences for myself.
Yeah, there's been a lot. We've done a lot of them all over the world. I don't know where we're going at the moment.
All right, Isaac. Well, thank you very much today.
No, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And that wraps up today's conversation with Isaac from Rib Technologies. A huge thank you to him and his team at Rib for sharing their experiences, developments, and vision for the future of simulation. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow the SimTech podcast so you never miss out on the latest discussions, reviews, and interviews from across the simulation world. And if you'd like to come on the show or share something exciting from your own simulation practice, please get in touch. All the details are in the episode description. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.